Hello guys and girls. It is the first weekend of April and I actually stayed in Asheville this weekend with some high school friends for a bachelor party, and everyone left and it's Sunday around 12:30 and the weather is beautiful, so I planned on trying to do a hike on my way home, even though I'm pretty hungover right now. Haven't eaten anything, but it's so nice outside today. It's like, oh, sorry, my pole got snagged on a tree. Anyways, it's really nice, mid 40s to 50 degrees and no wind. It just feels really nice outside. Perfect day for hiking. And my original plan was busted because the Blue Ridge Parkway is closed around the Craggy Gardens area, and I want to hike the Snowball Trail, bag a couple peaks and a fire tower, but I couldn't get there, so this was my backup option. I didn't really plan this very well, but right where the Blue Ridge Parkway is closed is a junction with Elk Mountain Highway, and the Mountain Sea Trail crosses right at that gap. And so I'm taking a hike that I've seen in Danny Bernstein's book to Rattlesnake Lodge, which is some old house or manor. Sorry that got cut off so short. A couple people passed by, so I had to pause the video. Anyways, I have no idea what Rattlesnake Lodge looks like or if there's any views, but my main goal is to continue east on the Mountain Sea Trail to Lane Pinnacle, which is one of the big westernmost peaks of the Great Craggy Mountains, around 5,200 feet. And I think it has a good view. No idea. We'll see. I've never explored the area. I've never been in Craggy Gardens or the Great Craggy Mountains. So first time for everything. This is definitely not what I was expecting. Seems like it's all torn down, or it's all remnants. I already passed by a couple areas of old stone walls or something. It might have been the barn. There's a map here, but you can kind of see along this area there are retaining stone walls on the sides of the trail, and this is the main area apparently. On the map, this is the yard. Nice little flat spot. And then there's a big wall right here. There's some people at the last spot where the barn was, so maybe I'll go back there in a bit. But you can kind of see the foundational area of this home. It said it was built in 1903. They even have a nice little spring here. Well, that's Rattlesnake Lodge. I made it here a lot quicker than I expected, so maybe 45 more minutes to Lane Pinnacle. This is a really beautiful section of trail, hemmed in by these nice shrubs. After the main portion of Rattlesnake Lodge, probably a few hundred yards farther down the trail, there's another, looks like just a part of a chimney. And beyond that, the trail's been switchbacking up the west side of whatever mountain I'm on, and getting increasingly rockier, but got some views through the trees. It's definitely a completely different feel to the trail as I am getting higher and higher in elevation. The past hour, I've climbed up almost to the top of two mountains. The trail had a beautiful winding climb around Rocky Knob, and flattened out at a beautiful little saddle between Rocky Knob and Richland Knob. And then from there, it was a very steep, curvy switchback all the way up to just below the top of Richland Knob. And there's a lot of rocks, cliffs. I might try to bag that peak on the way back. It looked very close to where the trail was. But since then, I've been along this narrow ridge that's climbed up and down a couple mountains. I forget the name. I have to go back and look at the phone app. But this is the last peak on this ridge before I start to climb up Lane Pinnacle, which is this sharp peak just ahead of me through the trees. So I think I'm going to drop a little, and then maybe like a 400-foot climb or so up to the top of that. And that's definitely my final destination. It's taking a little longer than I thought. It's already past 2:10, I think. And if I make it to the top of Lane Pinnacle by 2:30, that means I've been going around 5.5 miles in 2.5 hours. So it's decent time. But I probably won't be able to get back to my car until 5 or 5:30. So I'm gonna book it over there and eat lunch. Made it to the top of Lane Pinnacle, which is the true summit, is this little bump right here. And I was exhausted, plopped down, already ate lunch, and drank almost all my water bottle. But the real view is right over here. Nice little rock outcropping. It's not the view or direction I was expecting, but it does give me very nice bird's eye view of the Bee Tree Reservoir, which is straight ahead. This is one of two reservoirs on the east side of Asheville. This is the much smaller one. Right here, this is Fork Mountain, and on the other side of that is the North Fork Reservoir, which is much bigger. It's where the Swain River originates, and that sits in between this mountain and this elongated ridge with lots of bumps. That's actually Middle Mountain, which has all the western trails of Montreat, and you can barely see it, but right where the tree limb touches that peak on the very left, that's Graybeard Mountain, and that's always a fun hike. But I thought I was going to get an open view of the craggy mountains, but most of the bigger craggy mountains are over here through the trees. What I actually get is a really awesome view across the Swannanoa Valley of the Swannanoa Mountains and the Hickory Nut Mountains around the Hickory Nut Gorge. So straight ahead, if I zoom in here, the ridgeline, the curved ridgeline in the front, that's that little bump on the left, that's High Top, and then straight ahead is High Windy and then Jesse's High Top. There's an antenna on High Windy, but I can't really see it through the phone, so I don't know if it'll show up. And the big mountain in the distance is Shumont. And if we look right here, the big mountain directly ahead is Little Pisgah Mountain, which I did 2 months ago. And behind that on the left is Sugarloaf. And then right here, it might appear through the video, but that kind of like sloped mountain with a big brown patch, that's Bear Wallow Mountain. So it's a pretty cool, I don't think I've ever had this perspective of the Hickory Nut Gorge Mountains. It's really, really nice to be able to pick out Little Pisgah and Bear Wallow from here. Now that I'm much more familiar with them. But as we go this way, you can see the land just kind of drops off as the Swain River runs into the French Broad River towards Asheville, which is over here somewhere. And then it's hazy, but those are all the great balsams and stuff around the Shining Rock Wilderness and Pisgah National Forest District. So it's already about 3:15, and it's gonna take me at least 2 hours to get back. I think it might have been 5.5 miles here, so I'm not exactly sure. I might have parked at one of these spots on the road a little bit farther away than the book recommendation that Danny Bernstein wrote, and hers was 10 miles total. So who knows? I already got a blister on my heel, unfortunately. I'm tired. Would really like to stop at a gas station, get a nice soda, some beef jerky, and then drive home back to Chapel Hill. So I think this is probably my last segment. There weren't a huge amount of views, but the ridgeline, once I got towards the top of Richland Knob, through these trees, it was really narrow, rocky, pretty cool. I definitely recommend this as a winter hike because it feels like you're high above everything the entire time. In the summer, this might be a little boxed in. All right, tune in for my future videos. I think coming up, I might be doing a 23-mile through hike of the Awari National Recreational Trail in a couple weeks with my friend. So look for that. Never been there.